Welcome to San Francisco's annual Trans Day of Remembrance. Despite this extremely tumultuous time in our country, it is important that we come together and be in community. Before we start, please note we are live streaming and photographing the program. Also, ASL and Spanish translation are available, and if you need a listening device, please see a check-in volunteer. TDoR is a genuine tribute to those we have lost to violence due to hatred and prejudice. We also remember those who have taken their own lives. May they find the peace in death that they sought in life. TDoR started right here in San Francisco and is recognized globally to raise awareness of the abuse and violence faced by trans, GNC, and non-binary people. Tonight is also a chance to bring together our families, our friends, and to call upon our allies to step up and save trans lives. Remembering our past is important, now more than ever. It is our elders that give us hope for tomorrow. And now more than ever, we need to carry on that torch of liberation. Despite the visibility of trans people in the media, trans and GNC people continue to be killed in record numbers. As a community, we know that trans, queer, and non-binary people face discrimination by the system every day in accessing jobs, healthcare, and housing. Most recently, the Trump administration is trying to erase transgender identities that many have worked so hard to establish and to educate others about our communities. However, the transgender and gender nonconforming communities have stood the test of time against many who have tried to bring us down. Yet we proudly stand together and resilient because enough is enough. Tonight, we want to thank all of you for taking time to join us on this important gathering. We come together to remind us to stay strong and support each other in times of joy and sorrow. This month of November, we kicked off the first Trans Awareness Month with over 30 events celebrating our communities, from a trans flag ceremony at City Hall to the annual Transgiving at Trans Thrive. Now, are you ready for Trans Day of Remembrance 2018? Woo! I want you all to please join me and our special guest in our official blessing. Please welcome Holy Old Man Bull. Holy Old Man Bull is a two-spirit, trans man, disabled, retired activist. After a 25-year career in queer-focused work, he has put himself out to pasture in Sonoma, his words, not mine, living with his life partner, Nancy, and yellow Labrador retriever, Frankie. We are happy and fortunate to have him come to an invocation tonight. Thank you for being here and leaving your own personal paradise to give us this blessing. Please, one more time for Holy Old Man Bull.
Thank you. You make it look so easy. Some people know me as Marcus, some people know me as Tio. I'm here, I think, because I'm old. I'm here because I'm a lonie, and I want to welcome you to a lonie land. Somebody said to me tonight, oh, we thought you were like the last of the Mohicans, you're not here anymore. No, we are quite alive, well, and thriving. So don't think for a minute that you're living on land that's not where the original inhabitants are living as well. This is occupied space, so welcome to our land. Before I say the invocation, I just want to offer a couple of thoughts. It's an odd thing this year, every year, this calendar of vanishing. those are my sister Kim's words. It's a sad month for me because I think about the Day of Remembrance. It's a proud month for me because I'm Native American, and November is Native American Heritage Month. And so these two confluences come together for me. Just recently, last week, my foster mother died. And she was old. She was 76. She had been sick. She's blind. So it was a blessing. It was a wonderful thing. And when she passed, we all said, this is wonderful. We were sad, we were grieving, but we were happy. But when I look at the statistics of who's been killed over the last year, the mean age is 26. And that's not okay. And that's not all right. And it doesn't make me happy. And after nearly 62 years on this planet, it makes me even sadder. So I want to share a poem that my sister Kim, Kim Shuck, is a Cherokee poet who's also the Poet Laureate of San Francisco right now, the first Native American Poet Laureate. And she wrote this for one of the people who was murdered this year. Shot, dead named, misgendered. Even the way they looked for you was a violence. Each detail a complex inaccuracy, targeted as acceptable loss. You are loved. In your own name now, we see you. It's okay to clap. How do you talk to a weary world? How do you instill hope? What do you say to a group of people who are aching for loss, who are tired themselves? We've all been through the mill. I got a letter from Medicare telling me they weren't going to pay for my testosterone anymore because I'm transsexual. Like, how did they know that? That's digging through some deep files, I'll tell you. So it becomes very personal, and you realize you can't ever step away from this even when you put yourself out to pasture as an activist. Activism happens every single day. So if we're just one finger, or to the current administration, one finger, we're not very strong. But if we stand together as a community, as one, sharing as allies, transgender, non-conforming, all of us alike, we're much, much stronger. One single flame is just a flame. But if we all become a flame and we join these flames together, we will light darkness. And that's what we have to do each and every day. Not just for us, not just for today, not just for next week, but for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren and for 7 generations to come. So join me in pledging every day that you will be an activist, whatever that looks like to you, that you will not back down. Because remember, you only have one chance ever to do the right thing. Always choose to do the right thing. Now, if you are able to stand and would like to join me, I'd like to offer a welcoming from our ancestors. And if you can't, that's okay too. I would be sitting if I didn't have to stand. Regardless of what your spiritual beliefs are, we all come from ancestors. And tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people had to get together over eons to create you and me and everyone in this room. And that we are standing here at this time in this place, at this moment, to share these feelings together is a beautiful, miraculous thing. So bring in the love. Think of the people who have passed this year. Think of the people who were taken, who are lost. Pull your ancestors in, and we say, to those who have come before us and to those who will come after us, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this moment and the miracle of our existence right now. We thank you for watching over us each and every day and continuing to inspire us with hope and pride and happiness where we can find it, because every day is a gift. Thank you.
blessing. Now, we want to honor the passionate work of Ella para Trans Latinas and their members for creating the beautiful altar tonight. Please stop by the altar to share your respects or to leave an offering. Please welcome the Ella team to share a few words. We're going to actually do that a little bit later. Yeah, we're going to go to the next one. Okay, are the chairs ready? Awesome. We are going to introduce this year's Chairs for Trans Day of Remembrance. The altar is breathtaking, and we will talk about Ella para Trans Latinas in just a second, but right now, we'd like to bring to the stage two individuals who have taken a leap of courage to be the chairs for this year's TDoR 2018 event. From the Flux program in Oakland and the founders of SFAF's support group, Trans Life. Please officially welcome to the stage, Miss Janelle Vinson and Miss Billy Cooper.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to a truly blessed and a special occasion. Good evening, everyone. My name is Miss Billy Cooper, and I'm one of the co-chairs for this year's TDoR. I am happy and moved that I am given this opportunity, along with my co-chair, Janelle, to take leadership for such an important occasion. As someone who has been around for a long time, I want to impart to everyone, even though we are able to exist with many positive initiatives, the work is never done. Aside from remembering folks who are no longer with us, I encourage everyone to take the information you will hear tonight and educate ourselves and use it, so we can bring us closer together as a community. And my hope is to preserve, and my hope is our presence will inspire each other to be compassionate and kind to one another. Thank you for joining us tonight. Come on, let's go.
Good evening, my name is Janelle Vinson. It is an honor to be one of this year's chair for Transgender Day of Remembrance. I am also excited to be co-chair along with a true living legend of our community, Miss Billy Cooper. I also serve as the chair of Flux Bay Area. Flux is a national advocacy group dedicated to raising the profile of trans and gender nonconforming communities by leveraging social events, creating safe spaces, and providing innovative advocacy, all the things that this event holds. I can't express enough the importance of TDoR to me, because so many of my Black trans sisters are being violently slain due to transphobic hate. Enough is enough. We welcome you and thank you for taking the time out tonight to be with us.
Now, it's my honor to introduce our first speaker for the evening. Sam Martinez is a gay trans man who goes to Alameda High School and currently holds the position of Gender Sexuality Alliance President. Sam helped create a safer Alameda Unified School District by being a part of LGBTQ Roundtable. where community members, staff, and students meet to help create safer schools for the LGBTQ community. He has been with the GSA network for the past 2 years and has been a member of National Truth Council for the 2018 year. His work in activism has helped him be a more open and inclusive person of all, and he hopes to work with a nonprofit to continue his work for the trans and queer community. Please welcome Sam Martinez.
Hi everyone. Again, my name is Sam Martinez. I'm one of the youth at GSA Network, and I'm part of Truth Council, which is also known for Transgender National Council. And my pronouns are he, him, his. And I go to Alameda High School. And I'm transgender and also gay. And I can definitely tell you, every single trans person is different. We don't all look the same. We're not all depressed and wanting to commit suicide. Our journeys are all different. But that's not how society sees it. They believe we aren't normal. They believe we don't deserve the same rights as everyone else. They want to keep oppressed communities down, including ours. Without realizing, they could lose a life in the process. Because society does not accept us. Sometimes our parents don't even accept us. We get kicked out on the streets, abused, and we don't have the resources in order to get over what life threw at us. Our parents fear for our own safety, so they want us to be closeted, but that won't work out because we've been closeted our whole entire lives, and all we want to do is live our truth. But the reality is, many trans and queer people contemplate their lives because the world just doesn't want us. Or that's what we believe, because the world isn't made for us. The world doesn't want us to survive. But none of us chose to be trans. We were all born trans. And many of us have experienced being called a slur, being misgendered, being called the wrong name or the wrong pronouns. And I know what that feels like. It hurts. It makes us feel worthless or we aren't valid. And this makes us want to give up. Because we have come so far to be ourselves, but the world doesn't see us. But many people don't know what that feels like because they've never walked a day in a trans person's shoes. So this is my story through finding my transness and what I have had to combat throughout the journey. So in middle school, I thought I was a lesbian. And I told one person and was blackmailed for 3 years. This consisted of them threatening me and also threatening to out me. And I never told anyone until 8th grade because I was scared that I wasn't normal. During those years, I wanted to give up in everything. I wanted to die because I didn't think there was anyone like me. I did everything in order to hurt myself. I was abusing myself. I did not take care of my body. Then high school came around and I found Gender Sexuality Alliance. My GSA made me realize it was okay to be myself. But they also taught me there was more than gay and straight. This made me question my identity. GSA is where I could be myself at this difficult time, but this was also my own battle. They couldn't tell me who I was, and I personally didn't want to talk about it. It was my own internal battle. I was slowly giving up because I didn't want to have that hard conversation with myself about who I was, because I didn't want to accept my own identity. This situation made my mental health come crashing. My friends were not there because I chose to cut them out. And they knew I was struggling. They knew I was going through a difficult time. None of them knew how to help me, besides telling an adult. It made me so uncomfortable being brought into that administrator's office to talk about self-harm, suicide, my mental health, and what I needed. Because I didn't know what I needed, or how they could help me. During that time, I just wished someone would have told me who I was. But now I know that couldn't have happened. Because you need to accept yourself, and it's difficult, and some people never truly know who they are, and that's okay. Or you may even know you're trans or queer years from now, and that's also okay. But being in that administrator's office was terrifying. In that room, I had no idea what to say, so I just talked about my grades. And I guess it made her think my grades was the biggest problem, because I was failing everything, including PE. And many people think PE's an easy class, that easy A. But if you're going through an identity crisis about gender, it's not, because they separate you into boys and girls, and it made me uncomfortable, so I didn't want to go. And they really had no clue how to support me because I was failing in almost everything. But all I ever said was, I need help, I don't want to fail. And I was given the accommodations and the extra help, but it only helped me not fail. At that point, I was questioning whether my own mental health or school was more important. What I really needed was the space and time to figure out what my identity was. Then the grades showed after. But it took 2 years. This was 2 years of almost failing all my classes because I was figuring out my identity. Although sophomore year I knew my identity, the challenge was, how do I be myself at school? And how do I let my teachers know who I am so I could feel accepted in my own classroom? And I was scared to let people know my sophomore year, so all I ever said was, my name is Sam. My name was Sam that year. Then junior year came, I went into that school year confident, not caring who knew my identity anymore. I claimed my space because I wanted it to feel inclusive for all, not just myself. I stated my pronouns in that space and my name and who I was, and all my teachers knew. All my teachers wanted me to feel accepted and respected. Then now, senior year. A set of new teachers, a new start. I claimed my space again, and I've worked towards this. I worked hard to make myself feel comfortable at school. But now, it feels like the work I have done for myself means nothing. Because this memo that was released by the New York Times states that the Trump administration wants to change the current definition of gender used by the government. They want to change the definition so that your gender is determined by your genitals at birth. This memo feels like I advocated for myself for nothing. Because now that this is out, it gives people just another reason to think it's okay to discriminate and dehumanize us since the government is doing it. The Trump administration wants to keep it so trans people don't exist, so we don't have a voice. But we are here and we are fighting. We're fighting for the future, and there is always going to be someone who is against us, and there will always be someone who fights beside us. So how do we combat that oppression? Well, we stand up, we don't back down, and we continue to fight for those rights. And we hold ourselves with confidence as pride as we do it. From my story, I want you to understand that trans people go through different journeys, and this was mine. And I've definitely been suicidal, and many others have gone through that pain, but this is because this world is made so we don't survive. So trans and queer people don't survive. So oppressed communities don't survive. But I came over that, and I'm still continuing to fight. Because our battle isn't over. My battle isn't over. And I don't want to end my life. I don't want to be just another statistic, because my life is worth it. Our lives are worth it. But when people continue to dehumanize and exclude us from the world, that is when we perish, when we feel pain, when we want to die. That's when we want to give up, because we aren't respected when we should be. Because we are human like everyone else, and we need to create those safe spaces and fight for the rights we deserve. Because I want that next trans or queer kid to look at us in our community and go, that is me, and that is okay. Or even that next kid just being able to accept us and know we exist and know we aren't backing down, and we will continue to fight. And hopefully they will fight beside us. Because we need allies to help lift us up. Because I don't want my trans and queer family to become just another statistic. So thank you for letting me speak here today and claim this space. But I want to leave you with something that I wrote that was meant to be presented at an assembly for my school, but it never happened because of air quality, so school got canceled. And I mean, not saying that it's a bad thing, but I wanted to present it. So I talk about my transness and myself and our community and how I see it, and maybe some of you will see that as well. So it's entitled Perspective. So, do I exist? Well, I do exist. Maybe you just don't understand what it means to be queer because you continue to break me down. Because I am not my sex. I am not the three-lettered pronoun that is put upon me. I'm not the name that I was born with. I'm not in the wrong bathroom. I am not straight. It is not just a phase. These emotions are real if you choose to listen. Dysphoria has already consumed me, put me into this box. You put me here. Society has put me here. So welcome to society where everything is painted black and white. You are welcome to stay, to be yourself, as long as it's our way. Love whoever you want, as long as you aren't gay. If you're a boy who cries, you must be gay. If you're a girl who plays with boys, you must be gay. I support the LGBTQ community, but you aren't welcome here because I don't want my kids to turn gay. I don't care what the gender of my baby is until they grow up and choose to change their name. You can't play with trucks. You can't play with trucks because you're a girl. You can't play with dolls because you're a boy. Boys can't have long hair, girls can't have short hair. So welcome to society where you can be who you want to be as long as you follow the norms of society. Oh wait, look, you're just in a box like me because there's society telling us who to be so we can succeed. But forever remove my labels because I'm never going to be who you want me to be. I am my own person, society. I can put labels upon myself and I can take them off. So who am I? I'm trans. I'm proud to say that's my gender. I'm gay. I'm proud to say that's my sexuality. I am in the right bathroom. And I'm proud that I can even walk into the male's bathroom, but I may walk into the girls' because I'm scared of the people who choose to treat me like I'm less of a man. I'm also a guy who likes to wear skirts, but I haven't worn one since I was told, how can you wear that and still be transgender? But me wearing skirts doesn't make me gay or a female again, it just means I'm a guy who likes to wear skirts. So society, look from a queer's perspective. Clothes are not gender-based. Wear whatever you want. Don't be rude to someone who is just trying to pee because they aren't what you see a male or a female to be. Anyone can wear makeup. It's a one-size-fits-all. So society, look, I'm pretty damn queer, but I'm not someone to back down. Throw whatever you want. Just look from a different perspective. A queer's perspective.
To the stage, a representative of Ella para Trans Latinas.
Buenas noches a todos y todas. Soy Victoria Castro, educadora de salud para el programa de ELA para Translatinas. Es un honor para mí estar aquí esta noche. Gracias. Justamente en este momento que la comunidad trans estamos bajo ataque, bajo nuestra administración, es importante que nos mantengamos unidas y unidos. Eso es muy, 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 muy valioso para todas nuestras comunidad trans, niños y comunidad trans que está a punto de llegar y que están inmigrando de otros países. Porque recuerden que somos mujeres y hombres poderosos. También estoy aquí para recordar a Roxana Hernández, una mujer translatina que fue asesinada y que llevamos en nuestro corazón. Actualmente la recordamos día a día. Ella ahora forma parte de un altar que tiene 11 años de ser parte del programa de ELA para Translatinas. Es un lugar muy sagrado y que está en las instalaciones, y así como Roxana, hay muchas más fotografías de muchas mujeres trans y hombres trans que han sido asesinados y han sido víctimas de la violencia, que ahora ya no están, pero que los seguimos recordando en este altar. También quiero darle las gracias a todos y todas las participantes que día a día visitan el programa para honrar y cuidar con mucho amor este altar. También a las personas que no son participantes, pero que a diario llevan una pequeña ofrenda, una pequeña flor para este altar, para recordar a nuestras hermanas trans. Solo tengo esas pocas palabras que decirles y buenas noches. Muchas gracias por estar aquí y gracias por estar apoyando a toda la comunidad trans. Gracias por
Thank you again to ELA para Translatinas. I hope you all get the chance to check out the beautiful altar. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is no stranger to many of us. She is Cecilia Chung. Cecilia is originally from Hong Kong and has made the Bay Area her home for a while now. She currently is the Senior Strategist for the Transgender Law Center. She was the former chair of the San Francisco Human Rights Commission and is currently serving on the Health Commission. Cecilia has been working tirelessly on the local, national, and international levels to improve access to treatment for transgender people and people living with HIV, and to erase stigma and discrimination through education, policy, advocacy, and visibility. Please welcome to the stage, Cecilia Chung.
Good evening, everyone. It's that time of the year again, and sometimes I dread coming to all these Day of Remembrance event because what has changed so far? We're still reading names years after years, and the lives that we lost are still in the double digits. So how are we going to change anything? And besides, this is not the only kind of violence that trans people face. Speakers have mentioned before, like family rejections, other violences like domestic violence, like bullying and verbal violence. And most of the trans people in this room have at least survived one type of attack, if not another. And for us, we're still here today. We're still showing up for our brothers and sisters because we don't want people to forget that. We all have a face. We all have a name. And we will remember our dead because the world needs to know how many people lost their lives because of hate, because of their hate of us. And in order to change this, we have to really look at what it means to be a trans person living with HIV. I like to say that because now people are a little bit more sophisticated. They don't just talk about racial justice. They don't just talk about gender justice. they talk about intersectionality, big words, right? But what happened? What actually do we see as this intersectionality? That, my friend, HIV is the consequence of that, because it has the same effect as violence. They like to take away the lives of Black trans women, and it's still happening today. I want us to also remember that when we come into this room, we thought we are building hope. But, well, apparently this administrations have proved us wrong. And, you know, and all those angers, please don't lose it. Because this is the anger that will be joined together and unite us in our next fight with the administration for our right to exist, for our right to be healthy, and for our right to thrive, and to have more than just a life that is based on survival, because that's what we're entitled to. We didn't come to this world to be just someone that anybody can dehumanize. We didn't come to this world so that we can have people laugh at us, attack us, call us mentally ill. We're here because there's a reason, and that reason is we're supposed to be the gift to the world, to help them become more tolerant, to help them to understand what it's like to be different. So there is a choice for our cis allies. Help us find a way to make sure that, you know, the communities knows that they have a choice with us. It's either learn about us or continue to see us being angry and shouting at their face. So I usually try to be like the nice person, but this is really not the time to be timid anymore. We're lucky to be in the San Francisco Bay Area, but still we have struggles, but still we have fights that we have to stand up for. Imagine our sisters and brothers who are still in the south of the Bible Belt. Imagine our brothers and sisters who are still in the middle of the red United States. Who are they going to turn to? And because of them, we have to live even better. We have to show them that there is a place that they could come and call home. We've all called San Francisco home for so many years because we know here we can find family. It warms my heart to see that so many people are in the room today, because when we first started the fight and to advocate for HIV, and whether it is prevention or treatment, people didn't see us. People didn't know how big of a community we have, because nobody ever asked. We weren't any of the numbers they were reporting. Things are changing, but not fast enough. So we don't have to count on other people to count us. We should count ourselves, and definitely we should count on each other. And in order for all these big words, that big campaign that we're doing these days called Getting to Zero, or the National HIV Strategies, they cannot get to zero without the voices of transgender people being heard. That is why I started a project called Positively Trans. And it is for transgender people, especially transgender people of color living with HIV. It doesn't matter where we come from, because we all have stories, and all our stories are meant to be told and to be heard. And tonight I want to tell you all, I see you, I hear you, and let's just thrive together and tell the world to go fuck themselves.
Overcoming homeless and getting out of a very abusive relationship, 2011 was supposed to be the biggest year in my life journey of being authentic and my spiritual journey. However, in October, a week after I was ordained as a deacon, I was sexually assaulted. I didn't know who it was due to them putting something in my drink. I just know after I woke up the next day, I felt ashamed, dirty. Most of all, I felt like my manhood was taken away. I was so used to bad things happening that I told myself I would forget and just go on with my life as though it never happened. However, my body just didn't feel right. I felt fatigued, so I confided in my Uncle James. I also told him that I was scared that I might be pregnant. He gave me a hug and then told me to get checked out. November 9th, my doctor told me she needed to see me in the morning. November 10th, Whitman Walker opened up at 8:30. I saw her at 8:31. She told me, well, the good news is that you're not pregnant and you don't have any STIs. However, you are HIV positive. I didn't react because I was numb. My inner spirit allowed me to tell her that I was going to need therapy and counseling. I was at Whitman Walker all day. I heard someone say he had to take 19 pills. I thought to myself, if I had to take more than 3, I wasn't going to take any. I couldn't stop thinking, how could this be? I was doing everything right. I just couldn't wrap my head over it. For 41 years, I was negative. For the rest of my life, I'll be positive. That night at choir rehearsal, the song that fit, I was going through. It is me, it's me, oh Lord, and I'm standing in the need of prayer. It is me, it's me, oh Lord, and I'm standing in the need of prayer. I was ready to give up being a deacon. My faith was shaky. I was ready to throw in a towel, but God was still talking to me. And I was asking God, why me? And he would answer, why not you? Telling me to read Daniel in the lion's den. I kept reading Daniel in the lion's den, kept reading Daniel in the lion's den, kept reading Daniel in the lion's den. I just couldn't understand why God wanted me to keep reading Daniel in the lion's den. Because at that time, I didn't feel like Daniel right now. It wasn't until my brother told me that he had HIV, and I realized I wasn't alone. I started going to a support group with my brother and began learning about HIV. I learned I wasn't being punished for the things I did in the past. However, I learned that my life is bigger and greater than me. My mission and purpose was to be the voice for others. Within 6 months of my diagnosis, I gave my first sermon, Daniel in the Lion's Den. Just like he delivered Daniel, God delivered me from HIV. He showed me that I am more than HIV. God showed me my purpose and my mission for life. People often wonder why I do my Didn't You Wake Up morning post. I do them because at one point in time, I didn't want to live, and I took my life for granted. However, now I have waken up to do what I was ordained to do, and that is to be the voice, letting people know that their life has meaning, value, and purpose. It is me, it's me, oh Lord, and I'm standing in the need of prayer. It is me, it's me, oh Lord, and I'm standing in the need of prayer.
As a little girl trapped inside of a boy's body, not knowing why I felt the way I felt over the years, I came to grips that I was a growing transsexual, expressing to my mother that was incarcerated, I wanted to become trans. As the mad, disrupting voice came through the phone, stick a broomstick up your ass to see how it feels if you want to be gay. Now there was nothing but a dial tone on the receiver. Running into the closet, bawling out, crying, dropping on the itchy brown carpet. My grandmother, this wonderful loving lady with burnt orange hair to her shoulders, beautiful hazel eyes, opened my door. The loud, outrageous voice came through. Girl, put on this lipstick and become the best woman you want to be. Not having a father present and a brother that gives you black eye every week because you was gay. That has made me look for love in all the wrong places and pushed me to the streets to find what I need. What I found was drugs and sex. This is me as I was. Hiding behind this beautiful smile. Chill temperatures, darkness surrounds me. The deep stroke of the lightning bolt pierced through my soul. I was lost. I needed to be deceased. Mother hates, father vanished, brother beats, society kills. No love, no joy, no help, no me, effective. No meds, no strength. I'm stressed. I use drugs. I was dead. Who is this? It can't be me. I am not a statistic. Grandma gave me hope. She gave me life. It won't be. It will not. I will pray. I will engage. I will reach. I am living, laughing. I will cry, but I am strong. I am beautiful. I am better, so I have overcome. Now I am thee. I am she. I am me, and not what you want of me.
Let's give it up one more time for the two videos. And also our tech mistress, Nikki Kalma. And lastly, let's hear it one more time for Cecilia Chung. Thank you for coming. We are very fortunate and blessed to have our third speaker with us, Miss Toni Newman. Ms. Newman is an established and well-recognized leader in the field of the nonprofit world. In 2011, Toni wrote her memoir, I Rise, The Transformation of Toni Newman. Toni deeply describes her 25 years of transition, successes, challenges, struggles, and lessons learned. Being the first African-American transgender woman to write a memoir in the United States, I Rise was nominated in 2012 in 2 categories for the Lambda Literary Awards. In 2015, Toni became the development director of Maitri, Compassionate Care Services. And after that, she is now the new executive director of St. James Infirmary. It is my honor to introduce to you all Miss Toni Newman.
I'm here to represent myself and St. James Infirmary. We moved today to Nikki's building, 730 Polk Street, 4th floor. We're sharing space with San Francisco Community Health Center. I want to invite all of you to the grand reopening on Thursday, November 29th, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., where we'll be celebrating St. James going on 20 years of service to sex workers and trans. So come back to St. James. In 2017, advocates tracked at least 29 deaths of transgender people in the United States due to fatal violence, the most ever recorded in transgender history. These victims were killed by acquaintances, partners, and strangers, some of whom have been arrested and charged, with others yet to be identified. Some of these cases involve clear anti-transgender bias, and others, the victim transgender status may have just put them at risk in other ways, such as forcing them into homelessness. While the details of these cases differ, it is clear, even in 2018, that fatal violence disproportionately affects transgender women of color, and that the intersections of racism, sexism, homophobia, and transphobia conspire to deprive them of employment, housing, health care, and other necessities, barriers that make the transgender women of color very vulnerable. And after another year, we look back and we look forward in the transgender community. I started about 28 years ago on this journey. When I was all alone, I was broken on the streets of 14th Street in New York City with other trans sisters, and only 2 are living out of the 42 women I knew back almost 28 years ago. I felt such a sisterhood and bond. We basically had nothing. We stayed at each other's homes, in hotels, but each other loved each other. There was no judgment, just acceptance to who I was and my authentic self. I had been shunned by my family, by my friends, by my gay associates who I'd worked with for 5 to 10 years, and we had been friends. When I announced that I was becoming transgender, I was all alone. Now in 2018, the violence and the murder rate with trans women of color is still extremely high. The message I want to relay to you today, to my trans brothers and sisters, is you are important to us. We need you to survive. The LGBTQIA family must recognize that we, the trans community, need our trans brothers and sisters. They are important to the LGBTQIA movement, and we need each other and every one of them to survive. Transgender equality will not fully happen until the LGBTQIA put actions, not words, and truly acknowledge that we must support, encourage, and assist our trans brothers and sisters. In 1981, I met Dr. Maya Angelou as a freshman at Wake Forest University. I read one of her works that stuck with me. I talked with her briefly, took her class and dropped it, and inspired me over the years. In 2011, I wrote the memoir with her permission, saying, I Rise, the transformation of Toni Newman. Here's the poem of Dr. Maya Angelou that inspires me daily, and I hope it inspires you. I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room? Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soul for cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Do you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like air, I rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in a lot of pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I hear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and hope of the slave. And to all my trans brothers and sisters, I say, I rise, I rise, I rise.
Join us for a moment of silence as we honor the lives of trans and gender non-conforming people lost this year. This year we will be showing 2 videos, one for the folks we lost nationally and the second internationally. Our annual TDoR video honors the lives of people we have lost this year due to anti-trans violence. For the international video, the New Voices Bay Area will be singing along to the video. New Voices Bay Area TIGQ Chorus is a brand new 35-voice mixed choral ensemble of transgender, intersex, and non-binary singers. Based in San Francisco's Community Music Center in the Mission, their goal is to create a creative, empowered, joyful space for our community and to encourage voices that have been silenced or shamed to be heard and nurtured. Under the direction of Ruben Zellman, and on the piano is Vutun Nguyen.
known as the one and the only Rexy. Thank you for that. I am one of the team captains for this year's Trans Day of Remembrance. And my heart is so full from seeing all of you here today. My spirit is recharged from hearing from our powerful speakers. Sam is one of the youth that I work with, and I was crying the whole time they were speaking. This day is so important. In Native teachings, I've learned of the 3 stages of death. In our tradition, people died 3 times. The first death is when our bodies cease to function, when our hearts no longer beat to their own accord, when our gaze no longer has depth or weight, when the space we occupy slowly loses its meaning. The second death comes when the body is lowered into the ground and returned to Mother Earth, out of sight. The third death comes when the body is, when the most definite death is when there's no one left alive to remember us. Today is important so that we can remember our sisters, our brothers, and our siblings who have passed due to violence, HIV, and suicide. Let us not forget them. Let us celebrate their lives and keep their legacies alive in the fight towards liberation. Thank you for being here, and I'll introduce my co-team captain.
Good evening. My name is Ray Libman, and on behalf of my co-team captain Rexy, we want to formally close tonight's event and thank you all for sharing this special moment with us. Tonight we have gathered to honor and mourn more than 369 transgender people who we've lost to anti-transgender violence globally. Of the 369 people, Black and Latinx transgender women are disproportionately represented in these numbers and are targets for transphobic violence. This does not include people who have survived bullying, harassment, violence, sexual assaults, and rapes perpetrated against them. It does not represent transgender and non-binary people, including many young transgender people who have died by suicide or drug overdoses caused by trying to survive in a transphobic and hostile world. As a white transgender man, I stand alongside transgender communities of color to demand that we take these deaths seriously. Black, Latinx, Indigenous, Asian Pacific Islander, and immigrant transgender lives matter, and we as a community need to demand an end to the violence. For allies of our community, we need your help to educate your communities and support us to end these atrocities. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Rexy and Ray. We are nearing the end of our program, though we still have a few more things. But before we get to that, I do want to thank our sponsors. At the Flame of Eternity level, Asia SF, Flux, Lion Martin Clinic, Health Right 360, National Center for Lesbian Rights, Office of Transgender Initiatives, San Francisco AIDS Foundation, San Francisco Community Health Center, San Francisco Pride, SF Transgender Empowerment Advocacy Mentorship Program, Shanti, St. James Infirmary, the San Francisco LGBT Center, Trans March SF, and Trans Thrive. And at our Flame of Hope level, Fresh Meat Productions, San Francisco Gender Confirmation Center, TGSF.org, Transgender Law Center, and UCSF Center of Excellence for Transgender Health. Let's hear it for our sponsors. I want to thank all of you so so much for coming out tonight. We hope you will continue to do the work and remind everyone that enough is enough. We will not be erased. Please remember to be kind to one another because we cannot do this work alone. I want to thank all of our remarkable speakers and performers, our community partners, volunteers, and planning team members who helped to make tonight possible. We hope you will join us for Sparkle, our annual Trans Winter Ball on December 13th at the Century Club of San Francisco. You can learn more at the resource table or on Facebook. Also, hope you will save the date for the 8th annual Transgender Health Fair, December 10th, from 11 to 2 at the SF Public Library. And without further ado, I hope you will enjoy and give it up one more time for the New Voices Bay Area.
At this point, folks, we are concluding our presentation, but we'd like to invite each and every one of you to join us for a little reception right here behind the room. Thank you very much for coming.